What's up, guys? Welcome back from the MLG offices in New York City. I'm Axel Toss. I'm joined by Macsed. You're currently watching the Stars War League Season 3 quarterfinals. We just saw Parting take down Sen 2-0. Up next, we got Sen versus Macsed. Macsed already taking Game 1. Let's see what happens in Game 2 on New Character Precinct.
Here we go. Of course, the score is now 1 for Macsed and 0 for Mr. Sen. This is a must-win game for Sen.
Yep.
New Character Precinct's an interesting map. We saw Nesty go for Swarm Hosts. Historically, Swarm Hosts are really strong on this map, but Sen is a player who's not the hugest Swarm Host fan. Neither is Nesty, I thought, but he was busting out against Parting. But one thing Sen is really good at, he's one of the best Roach players out there, just overwhelming his opponent with mass Roaches.
Yep.
And on Newkirk Precinct, the third base is fairly exposed. You can do multi-prong attacks. You can try to control this big open zone here. And so it's actually one of the better maps for massing Roaches early on. Now, of course, once people progress to 3-4 bases, the map can get stalemated because it's pretty linear. You have to go through one of these middle paths, which can be fairly easily defended. And once it gets to that point, of course, you have to transition out of Roaches. But in the meantime, a lot of Zerg players will play this map just aiming to deny the Protoss' third base.
Yep. Seeing a lot of awesome games on this map. There's like two sides to it, and you could pretty easily take all all the stuff on your side of the map. Swarm hosts are like siege type strategies are really good on this map, so we might see Swarm hosts from Sen. Want to do a quick shout out to you guys in the chat who are watching live. Yar Jake, Squishling, Blue Man Walking, D Awesome. Hope you guys are having a good day. Thanks for tuning in, checking out twitch.tv/MLGSC2 or MajorLeagueGaming.com. Remember, all VODs are available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/official MLGSC2 and free 1080p. Also, something we've been doing is a comment of the day where we talk about a comment made by you guys, either in the chat or in YouTube comments. And the first one that we've done in a while is up right now. It's comment of the day, Investors versus Ultralisks. Me and Nick just talk for 4 minutes about one of y'all's comments. So go comment on that video, and you might be featured in the next comment of the day. That being said, again, as we said, Game 2, Sen versus Macsed. Looking at openings, nothing too crazy. Macsed going for the one base for now. Gateway expand.
And you know what's crazy when you think about it?
Okay.
When you're these guys, you're just playing a Starcraft game like you always do. All right. I think top 8. I think the prize pool in this tournament for 5th through 8th is $500, if I remember right. And then if you get, I think it's, and then if you win this, you get at least 1,000, and you could get up to 10,000, right? So basically, if Macsed wins this game is anywhere between a $500 game and a $9,500 game. But it's minimum, at least an extra $500 from this series. That's the minimum. And can you imagine that? I mean, playing a 15-minute game, that there's that much money riding on this 15 minutes. And as we get to the semifinals of the tournament, it's going to be even more and even more. But you have to win this to get that opportunity to be in the semifinals and then, of course, the grand finals.
And, you know, this kind of reminded me of something that happened at, I think it was Columbus, or, sorry, not Columbus, Anaheim. There was a Halo tournament.
Yes.
Was it Anaheim? There was a Halo tournament. Or no, maybe it was PAX. I think it was PAX. There was a Halo tournament there, and it came down to the final kill, and it was literally like a $250,000 kill. Like, where these guys have one last life, whoever gets the kill, whoever gets the final headshot, the final kill, gets $250,000. So, you know, video games, competing for money is getting awesomer and awesomer. And this tournament is no exception either. Again, this is a pretty important game, a pretty important match for these guys.
Sen going for the fast third base this game against a gateway expand that can be risky against gateway pressure, as he will not have Zergling speed in time. We can see it right here. Typically, if you want to be 100% be able to deny pylons, your goal is to have Zergling speed up around the same time Warp Gate finishes. And that against a Nexus first, you can take a fast third and still have that. Or against the gateway expand, a lot of Zergs will get speed first. Now, that doesn't mean you lose the gateway pushes. It just means you have to deal with the units and front coming, being able to warp in close to you. Now, you can do that just by getting a lot of extra Zerglings or getting Roaches. But in this case, Max said it doesn't even look to be going for the proxy pylons. And it's partly because Sen has always done such a good job of scouting for them.
Yeah.
That I'm not even sure if Sen needs Zerg
He's
speed.
so
He's just like, he's just so on top of things that he's like, I'm just going to defend it no matter what.
Yep.
But we do see, so it's a 3-gate opening from Macsed. Now we turn him to warp gates. There's a robo behind it, then a 4th gate. This could be like a warp prison pressure build. I feel you could see that. They're still only on 2 gases, so maybe he's going to
Yeah,
Just
like a
warp
lot
it.
of Protoss players have been liking the the
Yeah.
one Colossus and then push.
He might even just get a Warp Prism, yeah, and he's going to load up the sentries.
Oh.
We saw Partying kind of try to do this. I mean, he used
This
sentries
is
a
so.
lot.
This is doable on this map, okay? Because you know where your opponent is. The air distance is pretty close compared to the ground distance, and there's a nice spot in the main if your opponent isn't careful, where you can drop sentries and not be seen. Because
Yes.
the main base is pretty big, and there's a little pocket just above the
But
third,
that would be true against most Zergs,
but not Sen.
but not
He
Sen.
probably
I
has
mean,
an overlord
look
there.
at his overlord. His overlord coverage is perfect. This is something every Zerg should do.
Yep.
Like, there's no reason not to. If Phoenixes come out, you could spot him earlier and you just pulled over its back, right? And as long as you have that presence of mind to do that, it's just not a Phoenix. Being able to spot this Warp Prism is
And
huge.
he sees it.
Yeah.
Boom.
I mean, he sees it already here. Even if it got past that one, he's got a backup, plans. And this build is one of those builds where if he gets into main and Sen's not ready, he can just win the game instantly. But as long as Sen's ready and waiting, it's done, right? It's
Yep.
literally, there's not much more he can do. He has to leave. The Warp Prism will get focused down by Queens if he tried to turn into Warp mode and warping into Sen. You can try to, pick off a drone or something, but the plan was to, force field the ramp, keep the units out of the main, then warp in enough units to overwhelm Sen, and that plan is just gone. There's just no way to really salvage that plan and just try to do some light harass now.
Okay.
Oh, but look what he's doing behind us. 3 more gateways and an immortal. It's going to be
fancy.
a immortal sentry all in follow-up, but
Yeah.
Sen is already starting to mass
So
roaches.
Macsed is having, or Sen is having to decide, should I make a bunch of units against this or not? And right now, Macsed is trying to get Sen to make as many units as possible because this is just a pressure thing. This is just
Yes.
an annoying thing. If his opponent makes units right now, he's not making drones,
Exactly.
which is what he wants.
But, Sen didn't make any units until just now.
Yeah, so Sen's been doing it right.
Yeah, Sen's been doing it perfectly. Went all the way up to about 60 drones with no units because he knew he could defend this with his queens. This is actually a nice harass here. Well,
Stop some mining time
almost.
there. Got a
He
few drone
got-
kills.
yeah, maybe 2 drones. It looked like he could have gotten only 1. For a second, I thought he might get all 5 of these, but with the queen shooting his War Prism, he did not want to take too much damage on his units because the War Prism, I mean, is super important for this type of build. It almost was really awesome, though. It was almost really awesome.
Now here's what Macsed has been
Yes.
plotting this entire time. He's got about 20 not really. Like he's got a lot of sentries. Actually, maybe close. He has so many sentries, dude.
Sen's macro, though, is out
He's
of
like
control.
14. Yeah.
Sen is poised. He would max before the 11-minute mark. He would definitely get 50 supply in the next 30 seconds if nothing happens. The only, actually, maybe not. His overlord, he might get supply blocked a little bit with Sen. He only has 8 extra supply, but the good news is that if he's engaging his opponent,
He's
can
gonna lose some units.
he can clear up supply the easier way. In fact, he may be counting on that. That could be why
He's intending
okay,
on
never mind.
having to remake units. Oh.
Yep.
No, this,
Yeah, I need a
this
few
is
more
not
overlords.
luck.
But as he comes in here,
Trying to find out a place to engage.
yeah.
Okay, here we go. The roach is coming
Oh,
in from both
great
sides.
angle.
Awesome time warps, awesome force fields as well. But keep in mind, Macsed is on creep. Sen trying to take advantage. A lot of roaches in that production tab, trying to close that distance, trying to take out those sentries and those immortals. But look at the fancy microplay there from Macsed with that Warp Prism, keeping the immortals alive. And Sen is going to have to back up for now.
Wow, Sen coming in from 3 different angles, but Macsed time warps and force fields are up to the tax. Now, Sen is still building 17 more roaches. There's still a decent number of force fields, though. But he did get 1 of the immortals, which actually is a big deal. Between 2 immortals and 3 is pretty huge. Some more roaches going down. These roaches with a natural really trying to get out there. They need to swing around. And now the drone's being pulled. Drones can tank very well, but he's having to back his units up as the force fields are deployed. Spinecrawler is coming in from the back. That's a Spinecrawler flank. How often do you see that?
That's awesome, but the question is, does Sen have enough? Can he close out this army? The sentries, force fields are kind of going away. So
Yeah.
I think Sen is actually looking not bad at all right now.
I think he's up by 40 supply right now, and once this road squad can get to the low ground, there's not much to prevent them from sniping off those immortals or even just going straight for the sentries. A simple attack move from this
no!
point.
Here come the roaches. He's just going forward, targeting down those immortals, taking out the sentries. The immortals first, though. And Macsed is going to lose everything. He has another immortal in production behind this. He's picking up some units into that Warp Prism, going to try to make something happen in the main base, maybe try to sneak a force field onto that ramp. But at this point in time, Sen is going to be super happy with how things are.
Yeah, I mean, Macsed got a couple drone kills when they were pulled, getting a couple more here, but Sen can easily replace those drones. And the problem now is Macsed is going to have an almost impossible time taking a third base. I mean, he can go ahead and throw the Nexus down, but it would be instantly canceled by the swarm of roaches. In fact, even defending his natural is going to be a very tough challenge for Macsed.
Okay, dropping some
He can
units
keep
here.
warping in sentries here, but he can't. He's going to have to warp in units defensively because this is
no.
a ton of roaches. Oh no, Maxed's taking a lot of damage
got a
here.
force field.
His counterattack, he's going all in on the counterattack, saying, you know what? If I can take, I've got to go for kind of a base trade situation. It's the only way to make this work.
Yep.
And you know what? I think that's the right call for Macsed, but I'm even not sure it's enough. There's so many roaches here.
Oh, the roach is sneaking by. The force field just barely missing. Macsed focusing on the other side of the map, and Sen looking to equalize his series at 1-1. He's all up in his opponent's natural expansion. So many roaches still alive, and there's not much Macsed can do at this point. Trying to make another immortal out of that Robo, but I think this is Sen's game.
Yep.
There it is.
And it's, I mean, Sen is the master of roaches, like we talked about before, and this is a great map to master roaches on. You could see when Macsed went for the attack, there's so much open areas on Newkirk that at least up until you approach maxed armies, and roaches obviously get to become weak in the late game. They're such a great unit in the giant open areas of Newkirk.
Yeah, Sen, great play there. Great roach play, defending that attack. I love how in the beginning, when that War Prism came with 4 sentries, like, good Zerg players would make units to kind of deal with that. But as that was going on, Sen was actually making drones.
Yeah, he built like 2 Zerglings, if that.
And he was, again, anticipating the later game push, so his economy is nicely situated so he can actually receive a big immortal all-in attack.
That's all about just being prepared for that. If you have 2 or more queens waiting there, and you're pretty sure there's sentries in the War Prism, you can just focus the War Prism, and they can unload the sentries. The sentries can attack your queens if they want, but they're not going to do that much damage.
Right.
And they could actually warp in 4 Zealots or something, or 5. They could warp in 8 Zealots. Those Zealots will warp in, but the War Prism will die. And then you can just make units reactively, and that attack is only scary. The Protoss can continually warp in more and more units, keep blocking out the ramp, and if they lose the War Prism, they can do some damage, but they've just committed. They've committed everything, so it's not
huge.
Gonna,
Macsed going for a fancy timing. I like it, but Sen able to hold it off. So these guys are tied 1-1 in this quarterfinal of the Stars War League Season 3. Guys, stay tuned. Game 3 coming up.